Narcissistic fathers lead daughters to engage in self-destructing behavior. The most famous battle for the majority of daughters that have had narcissistic dads is that they tend to be incredibly tough on themselves to the point where their requirements are too expensive. When their self-standards are too high, they will certainly always fail, causing a fight with confidence and also their feeling of identification. This likewise brings about them engaging in self-sabotaging habits. The primary factor for every one of this is that from a young age, females that had narcissistic daddies lost their sense of self and also never were able to properly create their own identity because of the means they were dealt with. As their dads belittled them, insulted them, and also focused only on their high adverse qualities, these women came to be women without knowing who they were outside of what their papas had told them. As these ladies expanded, they always found out to question her capabilities, dreams, as well as look to figure out if they're as good as they assume. Because they don't see their worth, they do not value themselves or their dreams, so these ladies often have a hard time to form healthy connections because they tend to bring in guys that do not value them, either. The effects of a narcissistic daddy span far past childhood years. Women that experienced this psychological and mental misuse as girls have dramatically higher prices of clinical depression, suicide, substance abuse issues, anxiety, as well as PTSD even after they've maturated, though a number of these show up a lot previously in life. This research done in 2014 showed that kids who have experienced this type of abuse have similar or perhaps worse psychological health problems contrasted to ones that have taken care of sexually and also physically abusive circumstances. That implies having a narcissistic papa affects girls even more than most individuals understand, as well as the long-term damage cannot be understated. Narcissistic daddies inform their children that they aren't sufficient, as well as make it clear that absolutely nothing they do will certainly ever be enough to please them. In public, they may be seen applauding their youngsters or speaking positively concerning them, however, it's all a program to conceal the truth and also to make the father appear to be a great father in the public eye. What occurred in the personal privacy of the house, nonetheless, was a different tale. There is a method to get over, as well as it takes a lot of self-searching and also works, but it can be done. It may additionally require the assistance of a specialist or psychotherapist, which is absolutely nothing to be embarrassed about. Like some physical injuries call for help from a doctor, some mental scars are excessive to deal with ourselves, and outside help is needed. To start with, a little girl that has been with this requires having a conversation with herself concerning which desires are hers and also which ones came from her narcissistic father. This can be hard because as she may have pursued her imagination pleasing her father, she did it by preceding her dad's dream for her. Once she's decided what her genuine enthusiasms and inspirations are, a little girl should start to pursue them. That might indicate making some substantial life adjustments, or it might recommend starting by seeking her dream on the side before she can continue it permanent. However, she must begin to explore her desires for herself. As she experiences life, she requires to learn to celebrate her achievements. Although she's been shown to minimize them, which she cannot take any credit history for the excellent she's done in her life, she needs to acknowledge her success so she can celebrate them. A daughter also requires to see that she can be happy with herself of what she's done, whether it's something as easy as finishing university, landing a good work, or being in a healthy and balanced relationship. She deserves all the excellent that comes out of those accomplishments as well as should never allow anyone to tell her they're useless, also herself. The last thing that a daughter needs to do to conquer her narcissistic father accepts that she is still worthwhile of love despite her blemishes. There's no requirement of being worthy of respect other than to be human. She does not require the authorization of others to be loved, and she doesn't need to function or accomplish anything before she can be enjoyed. It's vital for ladies who have been via the injury of maturing with a narcissistic papa to realize that they can conquer their violent past and also thrive. The most prominent battle for a lot of little girls that have had narcissistic papas is that they often tend to be incredibly hard on themselves to the point where their standards are also high. Narcissistic fathers inform their little girls that they aren't great sufficient, as well as make it clear that nothing they do will certainly ever be enough to please them. In public, they might be seen praising their youngsters or talking favorably concerning them, but it's all a show to conceal the fact as well as to make the daddy appear to be an excellent father in the public eye. The last thing that a little girl has to do to conquer her narcissistic daddy proves that she is still worthwhile of love regardless of her blemishes. She does not need the authorization of others to be enjoyed, and she does not require to function or accomplish anything before she can be enjoyed.